$150 to $200 a month just to be insulted by some old lice-headed reporter. No, I'm sorry, or some news station that has a 24-hour cycle of insulting us. I'm not paying. Why should I have to pay to be insulted by some old crappy ass news? No, I refuse to pay for that. They try to always make the news as negative as possible when it comes down to us. So if that's all the kind of news they're going to give us when it comes down to how to do business in Ohio, we're criminals over in Europe. And when you go look at their history, they were killing each other all over the place when they were all in Europe. The violence and squalor, that's why they had that bubonic plague, because they were living in all kinds of swarms of rats and rat droppings. That's why they were dying. That's one thing about the Africans. They were smart. Whenever the mice became too much, they would just move the entire village. Those dummies, they just continued to live in squalor. That's why they died. Yeah. And look at them in the trailer parks. They still live like savages. The white man ain't never been civil and he ain't never been right. I love that. I love me some Khaled. Us because they know it. They know we are communicating more online. So they have to do whatever they can to try to disrupt it. That's right. The father of the internet was a black man. So we're on our own technology. Well, you know what? Jada T, that's why I keep throwing their evolution chart in their face. Every time they call us monkeys, I throw that evolution chart up in. But you're calling us monkeys, but you told the whole world you started out as a monkey. Okay. And that usually shuts them up, or they get mad that I call them a hybrid, but that's what they are. It's right in the book of Deuteronomy. Now, why would the Most High tell us they were non-people, but they're real humans? They're not. They're not. They were engineered. We were created. They were engineered. Okay? They came from animals and the nutsack of a man. That's where they came from. They didn't even come from sex. They came from a nutsack of a man, and then they were spliced with all of these animals to what they are today. And see, the Egyptians, they knew all that genes and tamper with DNA. They knew how to do all that stuff. Exactly. That's why the Most High told us to stay away from them. And that's true. And he tells us that all throughout the Bible, to separate from them. Come from out of her. They're not like us. They are totally different. You know, we are real people dealing with a hybrid animal. This is why they don't feel or sympathize with us at all. They can't. You know what, a golden black, I used to always say laying up them with them is like bestiality. It's like bestiality. But they get mad every time I put that evolution chart up in their face, but they can't get mad at nobody. They were the ones that came out with that shit. That didn't come from us. And don't forget evolving. We didn't have to evolve. We started out as men and women and proved that scientifically they were stronger than black people. They always came out at the bottom because they're the most recessive group on the earth. Everybody else came up above them and they came down at the bottom. Yeah, the snub-nosed monkey, that's where the Asians come from. Asians also came from monkeys, but just a different monkey, not the rhesus monkey. But you know what? The Asians do admit it. I have to tell you, the Asians are very much more, the few that I've spoken to, they do admit it. These devils, these, you know, that's why they got to keep washing their hair every day, because if they don't do that, they attract all kinds of lice and bugs and all kinds of shit be hatching in their hair and all that stuff. That's why they got to keep doing that. Bad it was for them. I mean, you go back and research the history, you'll be shocked at what you find out. Do you know the wedding bouquet was the, you know how that came about? They used to smell so badly. Read their history. These are some dumbass motherfuckers, man. They are some dumbasses. Right, that the wedding bouquet, that was why they came out with that bouquet, was to cut down on their stinking, the flowers kind of cut down on the scent. Yeah, you can imagine how bad it smelled. They didn't even take baths and they were having sex, and the women were on their rag, on their menstrual cycles. They probably weren't even properly washing in between their legs. It was probably a disgusting situation when they were in those caves. And do you know, I was reading that when we were not around them, Black women only had their period maybe once or twice a year, and we were still throwing out babies.